This is a tweet from Quiver Quantitative. Recent stock trades by Congress have caught our attention. I want to play you this video. It's a minute long, and then we'll talk about it. The gist of it is, the people who are known for insider trading in Congress sure are acting as though there's about to be a major collapse.
Senator Tuberville just dumped a huge amount of his portfolio this month, and I mean huge. To put it into perspective, out of the 61 trades he made over the last month, 59 of them were sales. The other 2 were purchases of put contracts, which if you don't know, is a way to bet against the stock. The reason I'm telling you this is because Tuberville isn't just your regular congressman. When it comes to trading, he has one of the best records in Congress, right next to Nancy Pelosi. And maybe one of the reasons behind this performance is the crazy amount of Senate committees that he's on. There's too many to read, so you can pause and take a screenshot if you want. But it's safe to say, with the amount of privileged info he gets from sitting on all these committees, you definitely want to pay attention to his trades. Now, here's the weird part. Whenever you see a lot of bulk buying or selling by a lawmaker, you typically see some sort of trend. For instance, they could be selling financial stocks or buying energy stocks. But with the Tuberville trades here, I don't see any rhyme or reason to it. He's selling everything from automobile companies like Ferrari, semiconductor stocks like AMD, regional banks like Southern State, and I could go on and on. But here's the catch though. As if Tuberville selling all these stocks isn't a bad enough sign, this week specifically, we've seen some of the richest people in the world selling billions in stocks. In February alone, Jeff Bezos sold 33 million shares of Amazon, which at $170 each comes out to $5.6 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, same story, 900,000 shares of Meta for $416 million. And the list goes on. My point is, when selling like this is going on by the world's richest and most powerful people, it makes you wonder if they know something that we don't. To see any of the data mentioned in this video, I made a website called Quiver Quant where you can track it all for free, and would love for you to check it out when you get the chance. And as always, thanks for watching.
The answer is they do know something you don't. They get rich off of it. They bet against you. So I'd be interested to see, outside of Tuberville, who else is selling. Is Nancy Pelosi? What moves is she making? And I did notice this before. That's the reason why I bring this up. I did notice that Bezos, there was a big story when he sold off a huge portion of Amazon stock. I was like, that's kind of wild. Usually they don't need to. They're so rich. You just, what's he going to do with, what is it, $6 billion or whatever? 5.6 billion dollars. Like, what do you do with that cash?
Buy Bitcoin.
Move it somewhere. It may be.
Give it to me. Just give me the 0.6.
But look,
Spread it around.
Bitcoin did jump.
30% in a month.
But this is normal. Right before there's the halvening is supposed to be happening. Yeah. Maybe they just decided to move. I gotta say, look, maybe we're about to see some big crash. Maybe.
Absolutely.
But hold on. If the crash happens before the election, Trump wins a home run.
Yeah.
If the crash happens after the election, the Democrats say, we told you so.
But why is Nikki Haley still in the race? I just feel like Nikki Haley is going to be the Republican candidate.
I agree. Vivek was saying it.
Yeah. Dirty.
Maybe not guaranteed, but maybe she is there because they are planning to do something.
Totally nonsense that she is in the race right now. Total nonsense. She's got big money. Don't know where it's coming from. Why she's still there.
Yeah, what's RFK running as? Democrat?
Independent.
Okay.
Hey, Nikki Haley makes no sense. There, any way you put it, there is zero reason for her to be in a race because she can't win. And all the Trump supporters are laughing at her. There's only one reason she's in the race. She is crossing her fingers and begging that Donald Trump goes to prison.
I think she'll drop out.
Only person that had a smidgen of a chance against Donald Trump was DeSantis.
Yeah,
a smidgen,
and then
that's the right word,
right? Like anybody who, like, if we're talking about the turtle in the, anybody who was even kind of close, which it was still, 4 or 5 laps ahead, Donald Trump. Like the only person that could have possibly even made or got 4% of the votes.
You want to know what's wild? A smidgen is actually a unit of measurement. Measurement. Dude, I'm going into this. I don't even care.
Yeah,
okay, a pinch is an actual unit of measurement.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, like back in the day, if you look at really old recipe books, it would say a smidgen, a pinch. I think like a nip.
A smidgen is a very small
can we
portion.
See a visual representation?
A bit or a mite.
A bit or a mite.
Huh.
A tidbit.
Smidgen etymology.
And here's another really crazy thing I was just reading about. So, do you know why we say that there's hours, minutes, and seconds?
Why?
Seconds comes from the second hand of a clock. We're literally calling the unit of measurement
the second measurement.
The second
after minutes.
Number 2. Like, yeah, a second
and
is named after the clock.
Minute. They're like, well, that's a minute increment.
Something
so it's
like
called
that.
Minute.
And I'm like, where we count seconds, like count to 10, like how many seconds until X, and it's like before clocks, they didn't have any of that, so they didn't count time. I'm like, that's just wild. It's a weird thing. Anyway, back to the.
I don't want to derail about the economy. This is a big deal.
Oh, you just woke up?
Back to the economy. Back to the economy. Yeah, sundials.
Is this guy going to build a doomsday bunker? That's when I start to worry because there's
Mark
a lot of people
Zuckerberg-
building doomsday bunkers.
I know. And
Rick
you know
Ross is
why?
building a doomsday bunker.
Well,
now.
Rick Ross?
Yes.
Yeah,
What?
Rick Ross.
It was big
Rick
news
Ross.
like a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Why?
I'm the biggest
We
boss.
should ask him. We should ask exactly. We should ask him, but he's not.
huge.
Someone told him I think he should build one, and then he did.
Did y'all see, speaking of Zuckerberg, y'all saw him at the UFC fight looking goofy?
He's like a cyborg. Yeah.
What was he waiting for? He was like, they're handing him some stuff and he didn't know.
Maybe,
He was
well,
malfunctioning.
hold
It
on.
was awkward.
Now, everybody loves talking about these doomsday bunkers, and Mark Zuckerberg is apparently building one. It's not
Yeah.
the biggest. They're claiming he built like a $200 million doomsday bunker. It's not. It's a big property with a doomsday bunker. And why wouldn't you build one?
It's got like it's like a network of rooms.
Yeah,
and stuff.
but
No,
like-
but I think it was 5,000 square feet. So he has this
that's
massive.
nice.
It's a massive compound, a massive $200 million compound with a 5,000 square foot subterranean like emergency bunker. But
But let me ask-
but real quick. I don't care about the bunker. I want to know why Mark Zuckerberg is trying to learn how to be like a black belt. He thinks something's coming.
He's scared of Elon Musk.
He wants to raise Wagyu cows, be self-sufficient, be on a remote island with an emergency bunker, and be proficient in martial arts.
He's infatuated with Joe Rogan. That's the problem.
That's probably true.
That's what
It's
it
gonna be
sounds-
crazy when you see the riots in the dystopian future of people trying to loot doomsday bunkers.
Special.
That's gonna be nuts.
So here's my thing: if you do have a doomsday bunker, say there is some type of catastrophe that ends most of civilization, do you really want to be around?
yeah.
You know,
If I have kids, keep them safe no matter
Here's-
what.
here's-
But why? Why you and your kids want to be the only?
well, you don't want to die.
I don't.
But
gotta fight against
but
it.
here's like the bigger piece of the puzzle. Everything everyone does, let's just be real. 99% of what people do is for other people. That's just it.
Yeah.
The reason why solitary confinement is torture is because humans only exist for other humans.
Yeah.
And so I see your point. If like I've watched those doomsday movies and I'm like, would you really want what would you do if the world
Right.
ended? There's no mission anymore.
The Will Smith
Actually,
movie.
Yeah, I was just thinking Legend. I Am Legend.
Here's a better way to put it. If you went back in time 200 years, you might as well be not a human. Because humans would be so dramatically different from your views,
Right.
from everything you want. You would not fit in. You wouldn't be able to do things you wanted to do.
No deodorant.
No, I mean, gnasty your teeth. People
what
would
I'm
smell bad. You have to work nonstop all day, every day. They like these things. Like, man.
Build your house by hand.
and that works vice versa. They
but-
look at us like we're not human.
No,
That's what
exactly.
we
Like,
do, you know?
imagine, you like going out Friday nights and going to the bar and having a drink. Now go back in time to a period where those drinks don't exist, where electricity doesn't exist, and you'd be like, this is awful. I don't want to live this way. But more importantly, the value system.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a gay man and you go back in time 400 years. Culture shock.
They didn't exist.
They did, but it was like,
One per
better not-
100,000. You had to.
better not say anything.
You would have to go from Oregon to LA to find.
No, I think they existed, but it was just like, it was not allowed. It's just not allowed. And
Kind of
so-
like having a kid out of wedlock. Like there were
Right.
some people, but like, do you really want to be that person?
Imagine it's absolute culture shock. Like the women who go to Dubai, and there's so many of these stories where they'll get raped, report to the police, and then go to prison for premarital sex. And they're like, no, but I'm the victim. Like, no, you're not. You're a perpetrator. You had sex outside of marriage. That's a crime. You go to jail. And they're just shocked. Like, what? Like, welcome to a different reality.
Right.
So, let alone living without humans, living in a different culture.
Yeah.
I'm like, imagine going to the future 200 years. You wouldn't be speaking the same. You wouldn't understand how to communicate. Like, imagine Benjamin Franklin came to today. He wouldn't know how to find out what the news is.
He might be one of the few.
was
I
gonna
don't
say,
know.
No
he
way.
would probably like
Some
it.
adaptable minds are
Yeah.
like, I see
he'd
the
say-
fractal pattern. I understand this method.
He would say, get
Some
me a
of them.
newspaper so I can
I love
figure
Ben Franklin.
He would
Like,
say,
where
get
are
me
the
a
orgies?
newspaper so I can understand what's happening in the news today. And you could say, the newspaper is old news. You need the phone with Twitter to know the news. And he's going to be like a small, hard glass object that when you, it's beyond him, dude. And this is not, no, Benjamin Franklin is not immune to this. The older people who have a hard time with tablets and smartphones is because they did not grow up utilizing this degree of technology. The same thing will happen to us depending on the advance of technology.
Yeah, bro. Like, think about this, bro. You had to actually leave your house, get on a horse and buggy to allow somebody to see your outfit. Each one of us right now could show our outfit to hundreds of thousands of people without ever leaving this area.
It's unnatural.
Yep.
That is unnatural.
Y'all so many
like,
no, but check this out. Like,
women you're exposed
during
to.
During war, the commanders wouldn't get word something happened unless their guys made it out.
Right.
And if no one made it out, they'd be like, "We've lost word with this unit. We don't know what's going on."
Think of Lincoln being obsessed with Morse code, hanging out, waiting to hear the beep come in.
Imagine a Twitter update. Hey, the North, we surrender.
What's good with Gettysburg?
Stonewall Jackson.
The wild thing is, probably the most powerful weapons, or I don't know if weapons is the right word, the most powerful devices in terms of killing other humans in war is radio. Yeah. The ability to communicate, because you can triangulate, you can surround people, the reeling of information. Yeah. Whoever's got the most information. One of the things I love was Justice League had an episode where Vandal Savage sent a laptop, regular store-bought Best Buy laptop, back in time to himself, and it allowed him to take over Germany and win World War II. The things that were on that computer, the ability to calculate and do CAD drawings even, allowed him to just rapidly advance technology. Yeah. And it's like, to us, it's just I bought it.
Crazy.
Your cell phone has more computing power than the rocket they used to go to do the Apollo missions.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines.
I was careful in how I said that. I'd say go to the moon.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. And one of my favorite lines
Shane's
from
a skeptic.
I'm a skeptic of everything, but from Mad Men, there's Ida Blankenship was the secretary when she died in the skyscraper. The character looked at her and goes, she was born in the back of a barn in 1800, whatever, and she died on top of a skyscraper. She was an astronaut. And I love that line. That's how I feel about my grandparents, looking at how they saw like giant hallways of computers condensed down into this phone. You know?
I was talking about that shit the other day to my team, and I said, I was like, bro, like, what was in the water back in the day? Like, you know, like during the Civil War.
Nothing, that's why.
To where they could convince you to play drums as people are shooting at you.
I think new water is poisoning us into not doing that.
The point of the instruments in the battlefield was not something symbolic. It was how they conveyed information.
Yeah.
So if they're marching forward and the guy's playing the drums and the other guy's got a horn, and then as they're marching down, the commander's way in the back, and then he hears, you know, fanfare number 3 to drum beat 4, he knows that means cavalry's coming up from the right side. That's how they conveyed information.
That was an evolution of military tactics. In the beginning, it was all vocal. Well, I don't know if it was in the beginning it was all, but early on, it was a lot of vocal commands, and then they just evolved it into louder instruments that they could bang.
Trumpets, and eventually,
I think we just have a pandemic of complacency right now. People don't even care to leave their house.
Imagine if we had to go to battle and you had to hear like a EDM DJ.
Wait for the beat. Wait for the beat.
Danger Mouse.
That would be awesome. Slow motion.
The general's going to be like, hold on. I have the wrong track loaded. Hold on. It's Skrillex. Retreat.
They're dropping Molly at night.
When I met you in the summer. Flake.
So this is what would happen. Now imagine there's like an EMP and it like nukes go off and it wipes out all communications technology. And so we're forced to go back to instruments. The songs they're going to play are going to be like, okay, so if we hear Shake It Off, that means Charge 4, the center is broken. If we hear Beat It by Michael Jackson, that means they're coming from the left.
That's amazing.
Shake it out. Shake it out.
I was like, he's playing Swift.
That would probably be
Charge!
like secret army secrets too. Like if you could decode what songs the enemy meant what they meant, you'd be able to anticipate their moves when you heard the music.
But here's a funny thing. I heard this about Iraq. When the U.S. troops started building stuff, maybe Afghanistan, the streets were named things like after Michael Jordan Boulevard and stuff like that.
Wow.
Because the troops were just young guys, and it's a dirt road they drove down with no name, and so they had to tell people like, that street we call Manning, and that one's called Favre. So you turn there and turn there. And so the street names were just like athletes. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.